So why does fasting work for weight loss? Well, if you understand how fasting works for weight loss, you'll understand a little bit about your physiology and why you might end up getting fat in the first place. So if you think about how we evolved as a species, we evolved you want to get into a debate about how many millions of years, thousands of years, all these different things. Well, however it is, we didn't evolve with things like refrigeration, preservatives, heating, cooling, all these types of systems for food. We had to, just like the animals out in the wild, for however long you want to debate that issue on, right? For millions of years, thousands of years, but whatever it is that we were out there and we didn't have all this technology. But we had a built-in technology. Just like animals have their own inside biology that helps them survive, our biology does the same thing. And it's all about surviving and replicating, so surviving long enough that you can reproduce. And our survival mechanism knew that we didn't have all these extra things around us, like refrigeration and deep freezers and whatnot, so we couldn't keep our food. We didn't even have preservatives to keep things even for a little bit longer. So what did we do? We had to eat food and then go find it. Eat food and go find it. We didn't even have agriculture until relatively recently in our species history. So what does this mean for our physiology? It means if we were going to survive, again, if our physiology is all developed around how we're going to survive better, our physiology gives us a great system. It says, okay, you don't need a fridge. You don't need a deep freezer. You don't need preservatives. We'll let that all be on your body standard. And how do we accomplish this? With body fat. So body fat is this reserve of fuel for our life, because back when we didn't have refrigerators, freezers, food on every corner, a Starbucks on every corner, we didn't have access to food like we do now. We had to go for long periods without food. So when we got food, we packed it onto our bodies through eating it. And so being overweight or being fat is actually a biological mechanism to keep us alive. Now, to the level of extent that we're at now, that's not what we're talking about, right? Where people are getting, 300 pounds over their normal weight, okay? That's something where now you are damaging your health because of too much body fat. And that creates a cascade effect for all these different things going on in your body. But before we had all this excess and we had body fat on us, and everybody has body fat, even if you look at someone and say, oh, they have no body fat. Even they have body. When you have zero body fat, you have no life. You're dead. So you need body fat to keep hormonal processes going in your body. But even if you're very lean, you still have a lot of body fat to use for fuel. You might not think, oh, I have a lot, but when in regards to output for your body, in regard to calories burned, it's very, very high. You can do a lot more off of fat than you can off of your carb stores, all right? I don't know if you've ever heard of people doing marathons and bonking, right? Which basically means like you have no more energy stores, you can't produce any energy, and that is down to training and nutrition. And if you know how to train properly, you won't bonk because your body will have energy. Maybe you'll cramp or maybe you'll get tired, but you won't bonk. And bonk is where your whole system shuts down. If you're primarily carbohydrate based, or you don't know how to burn fat, right? Fasting is one of those ways. Your body starts to learn how to burn the fat, then you won't have those negative side effects. Well, getting back to our physiology, getting back to how we evolved, well, all those years of going out and hunting or finding a tree before we had agriculture and we could plant things out and look at them and see them and know where their process was on growing, we had to be nomadic, right? We had to go from place to place, follow the buffalo, follow this herd, follow that herd, maybe get a kill, eat it. Okay, well, when I'm eating, right, the herd's moving and then we got to go chase after them again. And so you went from feasting to famine, right? Feasting to fasting. And so our physiology was pack on the food, put on the body fat. Again, you might not even see it, right? You might still have a six pack, but you're packing on. Anytime you get excess calories for your system, You're going to pack on some extra body fat, which is a great tool. Like I said, I don't have to go to the fridge. I don't have to go to the freezer. I don't have to carry around food because I've got it right on me. So your body fasts or feasts, and it puts the calories on in the form of muscle tissue and body fat, but it's going to prioritize burning body fat, not muscle tissue, because you need your muscle tissue. You need it to go chase after the buffalo. You need it even just to be a nomad and walk from tree to tree or from wherever to wherever. Or let's just say you get stuck in the desert and you got to walk across the whole desert. You need your muscle to get that body going. So your body prioritizes muscle and it loses fat. So when you fast, you might say you lose a little bit of muscle, all right? A lot of times that's initially from your body not understanding what to do, but then you hit a point where you just start losing body fat. You just start losing body fat. And again, if you stay active, if you don't just stay lying in bed, you're going to, again, keep your muscle because your body wants that, and it's going to use body fat as fuel. So fasting works because it is a hardwired biological mechanism in our physiology so that we can survive. If fasting didn't work for us, we wouldn't be here. If we didn't have people with excess body fat, we wouldn't be here. If our physiology was different, we probably wouldn't be, maybe we would have a different system, but our physiology is, again, designed for survival. So we can hack this physiology and say, hey, I am not happy with my excess body fat. It doesn't, in 2022, doesn't look good. I don't want it. Maybe back then it was okay. Now I don't want it. Fasting is a great way. Now, of course, if you're on medications or if you're doing other things with your body, you want to talk to your doctor and make sure that fasting can be done, right, for you, because it might be such a shock from eating 3 square meals every single day that that you don't know how to deal with it. You might get headaches, you might get fatigued, you might get lightheaded when you stand up. There are all sorts of different things that can happen with you because you're so far away from your natural physiology, which was meant to feast and fast, feast and fast. You talk to people all the time, they go on 7-day fast here, and people's eyes go, wait, 7 days without food? Like, you poor baby. It's like, no, these people are doing it for spiritual reasons or for enlightenment or for health or for whatever. So there's tons of benefits to it, but we're so far away from that we think of it as scary and foreign. To make sure that you're not scared, to understand that this is something that is genetically hardwired, think about the longest medically supervised fast. This isn't some guy who said, I fasted for this long and we don't have proof of it. This is medically supervised. This is someone under the guise of doctors, physicians, 24/7 at a hospital. Longest medically supervised fast, guesses? 383 days, something around there. So, for over an entire year, this person had nothing but water, and I think they had some vitamins and minerals pumped to them, which really I don't even know if they needed, because I think your body figures out a way to deal with things after you get to a certain point. But what did this person lose? They lost a ton of body fat. They were obese, they had a lot of excess weight, and they lost all that body fat just from not eating. So your body can do it, and your body can do it for extreme times. Now, I don't recommend doing that, but it is a way of doing it. Our body is hardwired and able to do it. Now, it's uncomfortable, right? Especially the first couple days. The first day is usually the hardest because you're hungry. But once you break out of that, your body shuts down the hunger mechanism and then kicks on all these other things for your body so that you can, again, survive. Imagine if you wasted away a ton of muscle like we were talking about earlier. You were so hungry that you got like stomach pains, okay? And you had to go out and hunt a buffalo. You're not going to be very, very effective. So our body, again, has this hardwired physiology to keep us around, to keep us surviving, and it's not going to do things to hurt us. Maybe in the short term you do things and it feels awkward, it feels annoying, but once you break free, and you're not attached to, and this is something that happened to me when I started doing intermittent fasting and I did some longer fasts. Even now today, when I decide to go without a meal, let's just say I ate a bunch on the weekend and I'm like, okay, I just want to, balance out these excess calories that I'm on, and I try to skip breakfast or I skip a couple meals, or even I go a whole day without food. It's not as hard as it was when I first started. And I think what happens is a psychological thing as well as a physiological thing. But I think a lot of it for us is more psychological. That's how I think people end up getting to the excess weights of, obese, morbidly obese. It's because it's a habit, right? It's a habit thing that we eat at this time, we snack at this time, we go to the movies, we eat, we watch TV, we eat, we sit and do this, we eat, we go out to eat with friends and family, and it's like we constantly have these habits. And if we figure out a way to be more, disciplined with our habits, a lot of that stuff gets rid of itself. But even if your physiology is on point, you might still have some of these habits that pull you back in, right? I talk about food addiction is one of the number one reasons why people are excess weight. I think it's almost all of excess weight. It's just we're addicted to food. And if we weren't addicted to food, we wouldn't be here as well. So again, it's part of your physiology. A great example and a great understanding that sums us up in this world today with all this access to food was from a doctor, I forget his name, but he said, you're a cactus in a rainforest. A cactus in a rainforest. And a cactus was designed for the desert. And the desert doesn't have a lot of water. That would be one of the characteristics. So a cactus was built for not a lot of water. Very, very little amount. But if you put that cactus and you put it into a rainforest, what's going to happen? It's going to soak in all that water because it's got all this extra water from the rainforest. All this rain is coming down. That rain, that water will end up bloating the cactus and killing the cactus because it's not designed for that. And that's us. We were designed for that famine, that fasting, that scarcity for food. That's how our physiology was designed. That's why we put on excess body fat when we eat too much. But now we don't have the problem of finding food. And we don't have to put out the effort or energy to get the food on top of that. We can just food's on its way. So we have less caloric demands to get food, and the caloric amounts that are coming in are even higher than they were back then because it's cheap, it's easy, and it's can just boom, load it on up, right? Where it was hard to get a leg of a buffalo or something like that. It took a lot of energy, and even when you ate it, what are you gonna do? You can't eat that much of it. You can eat it, but it's just gonna get sick to your stomach. You can only eat so much. Your stomach is only so big, right? And then again, that food's gonna spoil. We can keep the food around. So our physiology was designed, excess, load it on, keep it on yourself. When you don't have enough, fast, and we'll go into body fat burning mode, and we'll keep you around. So understanding this, understanding that you are like a cactus, you are in a rainforest now, you have all this access to food, but it's killing you. That's when we start to go, okay, how can I use my physiology to help this process? Fasting is one of those ways. If you have excess body fat, just fast. You don't need to get on a program. You don't need to work with a trainer. I am a personal trainer, but hey, great job promotion right here. No, I'm just telling you how, again, if you're gonna lose weight or lose body fat, that's the way that you're gonna do it. Use your physiology. Yes, you can enhance these by lifting weights. That's gonna build muscle while you use the fat. You don't have to starve yourself, all right, and not eat, but it's a cheaper, easier, faster way to get the results. You can also do it with nutrition. But again, if I'm constantly eating, when we talk about that pattern, that habit of constantly eating, that might trigger our hunger even when we're not hungry. Well, if you're over excess weight, you shouldn't be hungry. Your body should be satiated because you have enough for yourself for a long period of time. Like I said, 383 days someone went without eating anything. So you can go another 24 hours if you've got excess weight. So again, fasting works because of our physiology. If it's something that you're interested in doing, talk to your doctor, obviously, if you have contraindications, but think about it, right? We're all designed. We're all designed. So unless if you have some other issue going on with your body and it's detrimental for you to fast, for going without food for a long period of time, there's even a diet called the fasting mimicking diet, which you eat little amounts of food and it tricks your body into fasting. There are ways of doing it, but I would say fasting is a genetic thing that is really, really, really valuable for us as human beings. And it doesn't just do the body fat clearing out and using that as fuel and using that as energy. It also does other things for our cells and our body. And that's what more and more people are interested in. And that's what came about with the fasting mimicking diet. It was more for longevity, not for weight loss or body composition or appearance. So more and more advancements and more information is coming out about that side of things. But just again, if you understand the physiology, like I just went on and rambled about, you'll understand why we put on weight, excess body fat, and that's why it's body fat, and how you can lose it through fasting and why you lose it through fasting. Again, it's your body is hardwired for this over thousands of years, millions of years, who knows, but it's been around for a very long time. And all of this agriculture and food and fast food, all that is so new to us. Our hardware has not caught up with our software. So if you can fix this thing, that'll solve a lot of the problems. If you can be disciplined enough up here to say, I'm only going to eat this amount of food, I'm only going to eat this many times a day, great. But if you're having a hard time with discipline, fasting might be the way for you because it's natural. Once you break through, again, even myself, I didn't think it was possible. I was that hangry person. If I didn't get a meal every so often, I was hangry. I was pissed off, and a lot of that is coming from your hormones and your blood sugar and things going on in your body. But once you break free of that and you understand you're not going to die, you're going to be okay, everything's going to be okay, just breathe. Then you start going, what am I freaking out about a meal? I've had all these different meals. I have body fat on me. It's like, I'm not going to die or waste away. That's one of our things that we think about. As long as I'm staying active and continuing to lift weights and do what I'm doing, your body's not going to lose the muscle mass if that's an issue for you. It takes a lot to lose muscle mass. You're going to have to fast for a long period of time. But again, if you're someone who's on the other end and you're just like, hey, I just want to lose the weight, fasting is just, again, our genetic way of getting down to a normal weight. Now, people can use it to the extreme and become anorexic and not eat anything. But again, if you're looking for that balance, try to find the balance and use your physiology to its advantage. Eating certain amounts of meals and doing all these things that might overcomplicate things for you, and that might be a reason why it hasn't worked for you in the past. But again, if you go straight to how we used to do it back in the olden days, we never thought about going on a diet. You'd be crazy to go on a diet because it's all about survival. They had to go on a diet because they didn't have anything. So their physiology was designed for that. And your physiology is the same physiology that it was back then. Yes, we've gotten away from things. Yes, life is different, but the physiology takes lots and lots and lots of years to change, whereas we can create a piece of technology, share it with the world, and it's here tomorrow. So that's your physiology. That's why fasting works. Try it out. Let me know how it works. Thank you.